Why my hair look like that? Oh, I'm recording. Whoopsie. Hey guys, this is Shinakuma_8 here, back with another video. As I said in the, I guess, last video, I'm gonna consider these last videos because I make these videos like back to back. So, I mean, that might change eventually, but like as of currently, this is my time to make a video, and this is my only time to make videos. But yeah. So today, I have decided I'm gonna try reading this book right here. I said that in the last video. This is Hobbes. Well, this is Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, or is it just Tom? It's by Hobbes. That's all you need to know. I am reading this for my political philosophy class, and I have a quiz on Monday that I did not prepare for. I was supposed to take it yesterday, but I made it. I made an excuse. Who said that? Uh, yeah. Um, it's not necessarily I didn't prepare. Well, I didn't prepare for it, but it's not necessarily that. It's more like I just don't understand what this author is saying half the damn time. So I'm gonna read it. This is chapters 1 to 13. I'm technically only supposed to read a few chapters, but like again, I don't understand what the hell this guy is saying half the time. So yeah, let's get into it. I should probably read the introduction, but do I want to? We'll read the introduction later. Right now, I want to read chapters 1 through 13 because I am tested on chapters 1, 6, 5, or 1, 5, 6, 1, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, I think, or 10 and 13. I don't remember. I don't remember. Okay. So we start on part 1 of man, chapter 1 of sense. Make it make sense. All right, here we go. Concerning the thoughts of man, I will consider them first singly, and afterwards in train or dependence upon one another. Singly, they are every one a representation or appearance of some quality or other accident of a body without us, which is commonly called an object, which object worketh on the eyes, ears, and other parts of a man's body, and by diversity of working produceth diversity of appearances. The original of them all is that which we call sense, for there is no conception in a man's mind which hath not at first totally or by parts been begotten upon the organs of sense. The rest are derived from that original. To know the natural cause of sense is not very necessary to the business now in hand, and I have elsewhere written of this same at large. Nevertheless, to fill each part of my present method, I will briefly deliver the same in this place. The cause of sense is the external body or object, which presents the organ proper to each sense, either immediately, as in the taste and touch, or immediately, as in seeing, hearing, and smelling, which pressure, by the mediation of nerves and other strings and membranes of the body, continued inwards to the brain and heart, causeth there a resistance, or counter-pressure, or endeavour of the heart to deliver itself, which endeavour, because outward, seemeth to be some matter without. And this seeming or fancy is that which men call sense, and consisteth as to the eye in a light or colour figured, to the ear in a sound, to the nostril in an odour, to the tongue and palate in a savour, and to the rest of the body in heat, coldness, cold, hardness, softness, and such other qualities as we discern by feeling. All which qualities called sensible are in the object that causes them but so many several motions of the matter, by which it presseth our organs diversely. Neither in us that are pressed are they in anything else but diverse motions. For motion produceth nothing but motion. But their appearance to us is fancy, the same waking that dreaming. And as pressing, rubbing, or striking the eye makes us fancy a light, and pressing the ear produceth a din, so do the bodies also we see, or hear, produce the same by their strong though unobserved action. For if those colours and sounds were in the bodies or objects that cause them, they could not be severed from them, as by glasses and in echoes by reflection. We see they are, where we know the thing we see is in one place, the appearance in another. And though at some certain distance the real and very object seem invested with the fancy it begets in us, yet still the object is one thing. The image or fancy is another. So that sense in all cases is nothing else but original fancy, caused, as I have said, by the pressure, that is, by the motion of external things upon our eyes, ears, and other organs thereunto ordained. But the philosophy schools, through all the universities of Christendom, grounded upon certain texts of Aristotle, teach another doctrine, and say, for the cause of vision, that the things seen send forth on every side a visible species, in English, a visible show, apparition, or aspect, or a being seen. The receiving whereof into the eye is seeing, and for the cause of hearing, that the thing heard sendeth forth an audible species, that is, an audible aspect, or audible being seen, which entering at the ear maketh hearing. Now, nay, for the cause of understanding also, they say the thing understood sendeth forth intelligible species, that is, an intelligible being seen, which coming into the understanding make us understand. I say not this as disapproving the use of universities, but because I am to speak hereafter of their office in a commonwealth. I must, oh man, I must let you see on all occasions, by the way, what things would be amended in them, amongst which the frequency of the insignificant speech is one. My bad, I have like sticky notes on this and they're like covering up what I can read. That was chapter one. Again, I have no idea what he just said. I don't know what he's talking about. Based on my lectures and discussions, I guess he believes that having a sense is like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a universal thing. It's not like part of a human, I guess you could say. But like it is. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about, guys. What is he talking about? We might not get to all the chapters that like I thought we would. Or maybe we will. If I seem like I'm in a rush, it's because I have this room open to me for about another like 30 minutes. So I'm like kind of gotta rush through it. Um, I should read chapter two, but at this point, if I want to understand what, yeah, I'm gonna read chapter two just for the sake of consistency and to hopefully better understand whatever the heck this guy is talking about. So here we go. Chapter two of imagination. That when a thing lies still, unless somewhat else stir it, I'm sorry, it's the sticky note again. It will lie still forever, not forever, forever, is a truth that no man doubts of. But that when a thing is in motion, it will eternally be in motion, unless somewhat else stay it, though the reason be the same, namely that nothing can change itself, is not so easily assented to. For men measure, not only other men, but all other things by themselves, and because they find themselves subject after motion to pain and lassitude, think everything else grows weary of motion and seeks repose of its own accord. Sorry. Little considering whether it be not some other motion wherein that desire of rest they find in themselves consistent. From hence it is that the schools say heavy bodies fall downwards out of an appetite to rest and to conserve their nature in that place, which is most proper for them. Ascribing appetite and knowledge of what is good for their conservation, which is more than man has, to things inanimate, absurdly. When a body is once in motion, it moveth, unless something else hinder it, eternally, and whatsoever hindereth it cannot in an instant, but in time and by degrees, quite extinguish it. And as we see in the water, though the wind cease, the waves give not over rolling for a long time after. So also it happeneth in that motion which is made in the internal parts of a man. Then when he sees, dreams, ampersand see, for I'm gonna presume that's supposed to say etc. Because I just recently learned that ampersand is a combination of ET, but I don't of the letters E and T, but I wouldn't know. So let's continue on. For after the object is removed or the eye is shut, we still retain an image of the thing seen, though more obscure than when we see it. And this is it, the lens called imagination, from the image made in seeing, and apply the same, though improperly, to all the other senses. But the Greeks call it fancy, which signifies appearance, and is as proper to one sense as to another. Imagination, therefore, is nothing but decaying sense, and is found in men and many other living creatures, as well sleeping as waking. The decay of sense in men waking is not the decay of the motion made in sense, but an obscuring of it, in such manner as the light of the sun obscureth the light of the stars, which stars do no less exercise their virtue, by which they are visible in the day than in the night. Sorry. But because amongst many strokes which our eyes, ears, and other organs receive from external bodies, the predominant only is sensible. Therefore, the light of the sun being predominant, we are not affected with the action of the stars. And any object being removed from our eyes, though the impression it made in us remain, yet other objects more present succeeding and working on us. The imagination of the past is obscured and made weak, as the voice of a man is in the noise of the day. From whence it followeth that the longer the time it is after the sight or sense of any object, the weaker is the imagination. I'm sorry, I'm getting so tongue-tied, sorry. For the continual change of man's body destroys in time the parts which in sense were moved, so that distance of time and of place have one and the same effect in us. For as, at a great distance of place, that which we look at appears dim and without distinction of the smaller parts, and as voices grow weak and inarticulate, so also, after a great distance of time, our imagination of the past is weak, and we lose, for example, of cities we have seen many particular streets, and of actions many particular circumstances. This this decaying sense, when we would express the thing itself, I mean fancy itself, we call imagination, as I said before. But when we would express the decay and signify that the sense is fading, old, and past, it is called memory. So that imagination and memory are but one thing, which for diverse considerations have diverse names. Much memory, or memory of many things, is called experience. Again, imagination being only of those things which have been formerly perceived by sense, either all at once or by parts at several times, the former, which is the imagining the whole object as it was presented to the sense, is simple imagination, as when one imagineth a man or horse which he hath seen before. The other is compounded, as when from the sight of a man at one time and of a horse at another, we conceive in our mind a centaur. So when a man compoundeth the image of his own person with the image of the actions of another man, as when a man imagines himself a Hercules or an Alexander, which happeneth often to them that are much taken with reading of romances, oh my goodness, it is a compound imagination, and properly but a fiction of the mind. There be also other imaginations that rise in men, though waking, from the great impression made in sense, as from gazing upon the sun, the impression leaves an image of the sun before our eyes a long time after, and from being long and vehemently attent upon geometrical figures, a man shall in the dark, though awake, have the images of lines and angles before his eyes, which kind of fancy have no particular name, as being a thing that doth not commonly fall into men's discourse. The imaginations of them that sleep are those we call dreams, and these also, as all other imaginations, have been before, either totally or by parcels, in the sense. And because the brain and nerves, which are the necessary organs of sense, are so benumbed in sleep as not easily to not be moved by the action of external objects, there can happen in sleep no imagination, and therefore no dream. But what proceeds from the agitation of the inward parts of man's body, which inward parts, for the connection they have with the brain and other organs, when they be distempered, do keep the same in motion, whereby the imaginations there formerly made appear as if a man were waking, saving that the organs of sense being now benumbed, so as there is no new object which can master and obscure them with a more vigorous impression. A dream must needs be more clear, in this silence of sense, than are our waking thoughts, and hence it cometh to pass that it is a hard matter, and by many thought impossible to distinguish exactly between sense and dreaming. For my part, when I consider that in dreams I do not often, nor constantly, think of the same persons, places, objects, and actions that I do waking, nor remember so long a train of coherent thoughts, dreaming as at other times. And because waking I often observe the absurdity of dreams, but never dream of the absurdities of my waking thoughts, I am well satisfied that being awake I know I dream not, though when I dream I think myself awake. What the what tongue twister is that? This is why this is why I wanted to read for you guys. That didn't make any sense. And seeing dreams are caused by the distemper of some of the inward parts of the body, diverse distempers must needs cause different dreams, and hence it is that line called breedeth dreams of fear and raiseth the thought and an image of some fearful object, the emotion from the brain to the inner parts, and from the inner parts to the brain, being reciprocal. And that as anger causeth heat in some parts of the body when we are awake, so when we sleep the overheating of the same parts causeth anger and raises up in the brain the imagination of an enemy. In the same manner as natural kindness, when we are awake, causeth desire, and desire makes heat in certain other parts of the body, so also too much heat in those parts, while we sleep, raiseth in the brain an imagination of some kind as shown. In some, our dreams are the reverse of our waking imaginations. The motion when we are awake beginning at one end and when we dream at another. Sorry. The most difficult discerning of a man's dream from his waking thoughts is then, when by some accident we observe not that we have slept, which is easy to happen to a man full of fearful thoughts, and whose conscience is much troubled, and that sleepeth without the circumstances of going to bed, or putting off his clothes, as one that noddeth in a chair. For he that taketh pains and industriously lays himself to sleep, in case any uncouth and exorbitant fancy come unto him, cannot easily think it other than a dream. We read of Marcus Brutus, one that had his life given him by Julius Caesar, and was also his favorite, and notwithstanding murdered him. How at Philippi, the night before he gave battle to Augustus Caesar, he saw a fearful apparition, which is commonly related by historians as a vision. But considering the circumstances, one may easily judge to have been but a short dream. For sitting in his tent, pensive and troubled with the horror of his rash act, it was not hard for him, slumbering in the cold, to dream of that which most affrighted him, which fear, as by degrees it made him wake, so also it must needs make the apparition by degrees to vanish. And having no assurance that he slept, he could have no cause to think it a dream, or anything but a vision. And this is no very rare accident, for even they that be perfectly awake, if they be timorous and superstitious, possessed with fearful tales, and alone in the dark, are subject to the like fancies, and believe they see spirits and dead men's ghosts walking in churchyards, whereas it is either their fancy only, or else the knavery of such persons as make use of such superstitious fear to pass disguised in the night to places they would not be known to haunt. I'm gonna finish this chapter and then this video will be over. From this ignorance of how to distinguish dreams and other strong fancies from vision and sense did arise the greatest part of the religion of the Gentiles in time past, that worshipped satyrs, fauns, nymphs, and the like, and nowadays the opinion that rude people have of fairies, ghosts, and goblins, and of the power of witches. For as for witches, I think not that their witchcraft has any real power, but yet that they are justly punished for the false belief that they have that they can do such mischief, joined with their purpose to do it if they can, their trade being nearer to a new religion than to a craft or science. And for fairies and walking ghosts, the opinion of them has, I think, been on purpose, either taught or not confuted, to keep in credit the use of exorcism, of crosses, of holy water, and other such inventions of ghostly men. Nevertheless, there is no doubt but God can make unnatural apparitions, but that he does it so often as men need to fear such things more than they fear the stay or change of the course of nature, which he also can stay and change, is no point of Christian faith. But evil men, under pretext that God can do anything, are so bold as to say anything when it serves their turn, though they think it untrue. It is the part of a wise man to believe them no further than right reason makes that which they say appear credible. If this superstitious fear of spirits were taken away, and with it prognostics from dreams, false prophecies, and many other things depending thereon, by which craftily ambitious persons abuse the simple people, men would be much more fitted than they are for civil obedience. And this ought to be the work of the schools, but they rather nourish such doctrine. For, not knowing what imagination or the senses are, what they receive they teach, some saying that imaginations rise of themselves and have no cause, others that they rise most commonly from the will, and that good thoughts are blown, inspired, into a man by God, and evil thoughts by the devil, or that good thoughts are poured, infused, into a man by God, and evil ones by the devil. Some say the senses receive the species of things and deliver them to the common sense, and the common sense delivers them over to the fancy, and the fancy to the memory, and the memory to the judgment, like handing of things from one to another, with many words making nothing understood. The imagination that is raised in man or any other creature endued with the faculty of imagining, by words or other voluntary signs, is that we generally call understanding, and is common to man and beast. For a dog by custom will understand the call or the rating of his master, and so will many other beasts. That understanding which is peculiar to man is the understanding not only his will, but his conceptions and thoughts, by the sequel and contexture of the names of things into affirmations, negations, and other forms of speech. And of this kind of understanding I shall speak hereafter. And that is the end of chapter 2. Um, we could quickly chapter 3. That wouldn't be too bad, right? Yeah, because chapter 3 is only like one, two, three, 4 pages, technically speaking, or like one physical page. I'll just end it here because if the video gets too long, it's not gonna load fast enough for me to get out of here in time. So that was chapters 1 and 2 of Hobbes of the Leviathan. Um, yeah, I don't know what he was talking about. I kind of understood the imaginations part, but I don't quite know what he was talking about by the sense, th- which is unfortunate because chapter 1 is one of the things I have to study and answer and talk about. So that's unfortunate. But again, I don't know what he's talking about. I I wish there was like an English translation to it or a modern day English translation to it. Like they do for like Shakespeare or something. But yeah. Or at the very least, give me like a dictionary of understanding of what sentence means what, because I have no idea what some of the words mean. Like exorbitant or whatever. Well, I mean I could look that up. But like I mean like other words, like happeneth. What is happeneth? I'm sure enough that's just what they meant by happens or happened. But happeneth is not a word that people use in modern day language. But yeah, I love reading like unique I love reading this type of stuff. My only issue is I can't understand it. And that's my only issue. Like, cause I think like speaking like old 1700s way or 1600s or Shakespearean time, like they sound so cool, but I don't know what they're saying. So, yeah, there's that. I think my voice got deeper while I was reading. But there again, there was Hobbes of Ivan's chapters 1 and 2. Thank you for listening me to Thank you for listening me read and fail to read for like 20 whole minutes. I apologize. And wish me luck. Um since I have to do the quiz on Monday, I don't think there will be a video on Monday. So the next time I will see you guys is maybe Wednesday. Maybe. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on what I want to do. But most likely I'll see you guys Wednesday. I'll probably post like a short video Monday just to at least get it over with. But yeah. This concludes today's video. Thank you for watching. I apologize for my shitty reading. And peace.